Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Whalenerds podcast. This is episode number 88. My name is Slater, and I'm here with Katlyn and Adam.
What's up?
Hello. We have a guest this week, too, because you guys saw some cool stuff, and we had to add her. So Kate Cummings is on. She was on in the early days of the Whalenerds podcast, and we're so excited to have her on. One, because you guys had some epic stuff going on, but two, we're going on her boat in October. So we're happy to have her. Welcome, Kate.
Woohoo. Glad to be here.
So I think maybe what makes sense is to do host updates first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that going to work with our awesome sightings?
No, you guys will go last.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
Katlyn's
sense.
gonna hit us with the East Coast sightings first.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also I just want to talk about the trip really quickly. We have 14 spots left.
Oh. Slater's gone.
It's okay. We can talk without him. So we have 14 spots left for the trip in October. It's October 14, 15, and 16. We're going out for 3 days for 6 hours each on Kate's boat at Blue Ocean Whale Watch on the High Spirits in Moss Landing, California. And hopefully she's going to save some cool whale action for us because she's been having it all right now.
Yes, it's totally up to me.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
definitely in control of it. And maybe find me a turtle.
Oh
No
yeah. Oh
pressure.
my
Yeah.
God. Screw
We'll
the whales.
see about that one. Yeah, exactly.
This is actually not a whale watch weekend. This is a turtle watch
Turtle
weekend.
watch. Yep.
We're not, it's like birders. We're not going to look at the whales. We're only going to look at the turtle. But yeah, we're going to do a sunrise, mid-morning, and a sunset trip. And we are so excited. And then we're also going to have a cool talk from John Ryan and Will Ostrick. I'm really sorry if I've been saying your last name wrong this whole time. If you listen to the podcast, please tell me how to do it right. But they are with Mimbari, and they're going to talk about the soundscapes of Monterey Bay. And we're going to do some meals together and socialize and get you some whale nerd swag.
I'm
Photo
so excited.
package.
Photo package. Yeah, we're
Man.
gonna do a little video of the event. It's gonna be
Yeah.
killer.
So if you want to book tickets, they're available on thewhalenerds.com/trips. And you can get more info there. You can sign up for the trip. And yeah, we're excited to see you all.
My favorite time of year.
Yeah, it's my
Everybody's
favorite time
favorite
of year in
time of
Monterey
year.
Bay too.
Again,
October's
the
my
best.
favorite photo is in that
I-
month. So
I
just claim it's
think-
my favorite.
Was it October 15th of 2019 that we had the earthquake day?
Oh, was it?
I think so.
That's a Katlyn.
It was either
question.
the 19th or the 15th of October, but we were all on the boat together and the whales breached during the earthquake. That was
That was
crazy.
an amazing day. And there was like 2 different groups of killer whales that day too. Like
Yep.
before that even. Yeah.
Best decision ever. Kate called me and was like, hey, I need a naturalist. Can you come in?
Oh yeah. I forgot you were narrating.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Oh, that was awesome.
You just turned to look at me and were like, that was so cool.
I remember me, you, and Eric, and like everybody like high-fived and hugged and like
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was right
Dude.
after I told Fran that she was boring. I was like, she's a very sleepy whale. And then her and her little buddy just hauled off and breached a whole bunch.
That's who it was Fran too on top
Yeah.
of all the madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Fran, like, she was like half the age of that other whale that she was with, but she was like twice his size. I remember you sent me the happy whale stuff and you're like, dude, this is a male and look how small he is compared to her.
Oh yeah. Damn, you remember everything.
Dude, that
Katlyn's-
thing was like
Yeah.
burned in my brain. That was so cool.
Katlyn's on it.
That's awesome.
Anyways, so I'll go first for sightings. We have been seeing humpback whales. We haven't seen any dolphins since I think the last time I recorded. And we've seen a couple sharks, but not like good enough to identify. But it's been pretty calm the last few days. So we've seen lots of little fins at the surface. And I forgot to tell you guys a couple weeks ago, a really funny encounter we had. So there's 2 whales sleeping. And it's these whales that we know really well, Spoon and Chromosome. And I swear, almost every time you see Spoon, all she is doing is sleeping. She's like, anyways, notorious.
Like she just
She's
longing
worse
at the
than Fran.
surface.
Huh?
She's just logging at the surface.
Yeah, forever.
Wow.
Like the whole trip. You could just watch a logging whale for 2 hours. And she's also huge. She's like over 60 feet long. She's been measured by a drone and a actual tape measure laid out from nose to
Oh,
tail
I remember you talking
because she
about that.
sleeps at the surface so well.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
So-
we just drag tape measures around with us? Dude, Adam and I could have done that. Oh, we'll get to that next.
Anyways, so she and Chromosome are sleeping, and all of a sudden she just like freaks out and like rolls and does this big turn, and then like Chromosome takes off the other way. And we were like, what the heck just happened? And then we looked like where they had come from, and there was a mola.
What, they got freaked
I
out by a
think it
mola?
scared her. I think she was sleeping, and all of a sudden she was like, oh my God, what is this thing?
Well-
That's awesome.
I feel like if mola are anything like a whale shark, they don't see like in front of them. They just like kind of go, and they like might just bump right into a whale.
Yeah, I mean, well, and Spoon was probably asleep with her eyes closed and just like laying there. And then something touched her and she was like, ah! Because as soon as she got away from it, she just like calmed down and went back to sleep. And we saw the mola and we're like, it must have scared her.
Wow,
Funny.
that's pretty funny. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's my sightings. Lots of humpbacks. Nice weather after Hurricane Henri.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
supposed to have a
true.
hurricane.
How'd
You
that
told us-
go?
Yeah.
We did have a hurricane. It landed like southwest of us, so like Long Island and like Connecticut and stuff got hit more than we did, but I don't even think Connecticut got it that bad. And we had a lot of rain, but it didn't really get that windy here. So we were off for 2 days because there's like confused seas and stuff, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
scary at the house or anything, which was nice. I
That's
don't really
nice.
want it to be exciting if there's a hurricane coming.
True. A couple of extra days off for you. That's nice.
Yeah. So
In the peak of the season.
gave us some time to do a little boat maintenance and rest. So August
there
has
you go.
been a grind, but yeah.
All right, who's next? Who's next?
Adam, you tell us what's been going down in Santa Barbara.
Essentially the same thing. Humpback whales, and actually it's been crazy with the dolphins. We've had like groups of like literally 8,000 dolphins. Like we had this one day where we had like 5 whales, pretty coastal, and then we shot offshore and we found a group of 4, and just for miles around them, it was right in the shipping lanes, but just for miles and miles around, it was just dolphins. Like you could literally see them, and it was a perfect visibility day. And it's just crazy when you really think about, how much food must be there to feed all those dolphins and the whales. So it's been awesome with the commons, and the humpbacks have been awesome too. They've kind of been again kind of sleepy, like they haven't been doing much, but I think the food's kind of far down, so they're just taking their time to go down there.
It looks like they've
but-
been friendly a lot. Have they been friendly?
Yeah, I don't know if they just love our boat or what, but recently they've been pretty friendly. And it goes through phases too. Like we'll go through like a week straight where every single day we'll have friendly whales. Sometimes it's the same whales, sometimes it's different whales. Sometimes you'll have like I don't know, I guess last week they had like a group of 3 come and mug them, which I've only been mugged by 2 whales. I don't know if I've ever been mugged by 3. That's pretty cool. But yeah, they've been super friendly, and it's just weird. Like sometimes they'll go in like these little, like friendly zones or friendly streaks, and they'll be friendly for like a week or like literally 2 weeks straight every single day, and then they'll just stop.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. Again, and I don't know if we have a different boat or they just get in the mood or what, because like we have a jet boat, so I don't know if they like the stream of the water jet. I don't know if that's something they like. We've had them play in the jets before, and like there was one whale that was literally opening his mouth like in the jets, like flushing out his baleen.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's flossing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's been super awesome. Bunch of dolphins, bunch of whales, so it's been good.
Nice.
Water temperature is there?
It's probably 60s right now. No, probably like 50s, 50, 58.
50s?
It gets
It's
pretty
like-
cold there.
No, it's like 60 here.
Oh, is it? No,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
like 62 here or something, I think.
Yeah,
It's
my thing
almost-
said like 65 today.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, it's probably around the same. No, I don't. It's probably not in the 70s. It's pretty cold.
No, but it's probably in the high 60s.
But
yeah, if you have
the
lots
weather's
of common
been
dolphins, it's probably almost 70 degrees.
We've had them in like when we get really cold streaks here, they do stick around.
Yeah, I mean they're same thing. They're in Newport in the summer, in the winter too. But no, I was just curious because I was wondering if I don't know, maybe the water's warmer there, and that's why the humpbacks are like more chill with the boats or something. But and then when I had a friendly encounter a couple weeks ago, that whale was hanging out close to the outboard. But I had my engine off for that encounter, so I guess I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe like the warm water coming out of my little tiny stream.
Yeah, I've heard people say like they turn their engines off because then they get friendly, and others like keep them on because they like the vibrations. It's like it's so hard to find.
Everybody
patterns.
has their own thought
Yeah,
about it.
I remember Peter Fulkin saying once like he thinks it was like toxic algae that made its way into the anchovies or whatever, and it was making the
Last year
That's
we
super.
had
go crazy.
we had
Yes.
friendly whales a
Eating
lot
shrimp.
last year on the bank, and like now we're up on Jeffrey's Ledge all summer, and we had our first like really good close to boat today, and I wouldn't even say it was necessarily like super friendly. It was just like they were willing to be right next to the boat and like drift under the bow as the wind was pushing us a little bit. And most of the time our friendly whales are like up towards the bow, which then you'd be like, oh well, it's the transducer from the fish finder, and it's like
No, yeah. Well, it's like we have a whale named Scarlet that we've been watching for 15 years, and every single time, I think except for once when she was lunge feeding, every single time I've seen that whale, she comes over and is like super friendly. And so,
Yeah.
I don't know if she recognizes our boat or what. Like, I think that's definitely a possibility.
She
You know,
has to.
but
right?
you guys also don't have like other big whale watch boats around, right?
We don't. However, there is the Island Packers down south, and like a week ago, Scarlet mugged them, and they have very
Yeah.
similar boats to ours, but theirs are props versus jets. So maybe that just throws my theory out the window. Who knows?
Yeah, because we had some whales last year that like were notoriously friendly, like repeat all summer,
Yeah.
but they would do it to every boat that was around. Like we'd have
Gotcha.
to be like, come over here so that the whale will go to you because we have to leave.
Yeah.
Just like in Maui when they like have to pass them off to each other.
Mhm.
Please, somebody come get this whale away from me. I'm late.
That's awesome.
Funny, that scarlet whale, man. It was. I know we've talked about it before, but she was one of my first like friendly encounters while I was in
I remember.
Santa Barbara.
I remember you have that picture of her from the Condor. But yeah, she's a super cool whale, and she is a calf this year for the first time in a couple of years, and it's awesome because she'll take her calf over and they'll just hang out like right next to us, and she does it every single time without fail, which is just like super cool. Like, and like once you build a relationship with a whale, like that's like I don't think she really knows we exist. I mean, like me personally, but like
She's
I
like,
have a
"Oh, there's that
relationship with
weird
her.
guy
You
that
know?
always
She
yells
definitely
super
hears
loud."
you screaming through the surface.
That's true. She could definitely hear that, but
All right, so I think Kate, since we see the same thing every day, how about you update us on like this last week of whale sightings? Because it kind of changed
Last week.
Yeah, we
There's definitely not as many whales, but there's excellent whales. I mean, if we're talking about when we were having like the rampages,
Yeah.
whenever that was, like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, I mean, I think there was maybe 20 or 30 whales in the bay, and now I think there's maybe like 15 to 20, which is still very, very
Still a lot.
good.
It's so
And,
funny when we talk about not a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, just in comparison, I honestly
Yeah.
thought it was going to like skyrocket and we were going to get a whole bunch, but I think there's just food everywhere across the coast. So they're all just feeding in different places. But no, there's good groups of humpbacks, lots of cow calf pairs of humpbacks out there that are mixing in with the feeding groups. And like I've been calling them hodgepodge feeding groups because it's a lot of like cow calf pairs, juveniles and adults all feeding
Yeah.
in like with a group of sea lions. So they're not always like super coordinated with the lunch feeding. When they
Yeah.
have the lunch feeding, it'll be like two popping up on the far side and then one
Yeah.
random like juvenile flies out of the water doing like a really exaggerated lunge, and then some mom and calf peel off and the calf starts breaching.
Yeah.
Instead of like all adults that will like get it together really easily, and then there'll be like 5 heads popping out of the water to lunge feed. So I've been calling
Yeah.
them the hodgepodge lunge feeders.
I
But
love that.
it's been really good, like really, really good. And I like it even when they're just diving deep with the sea lions, just them all coming
Yeah.
up and one spot most of the time. And yeah, I think it's been really good. They've been on the north side, south side, right on the edge of the canyon, in the flats.
Yeah.
Like it's been kind of random, keeping us on our toes where to find them.
Yeah, it's been kind of cool because it's like it was very clear every day, like south side of the canyon, within like 3 to 4 miles, you would find them, like literally within like 0.5 to like 4 miles out. And then the other day I went to the Pajaro and found a group to the north, and then now yesterday we had that group inside, like on the ledge, right? Like where were we? Like 44 and 55 or something.
Yeah, like much further out
Weird.
than they'd been. And then today there were some right in front of the harbor again. Like it's been real random. But good. I wanted to
Lots of
find that
bait.
whale that was missing half the tail, and I found it today, and I was really excited.
Yeah,
So
they
I'm
had it
gonna
on
that's
our
find
way
cool.
in.
that one.
They had it on our way in yesterday, and Adam and I were so tired. Like
We were
we-
so dead.
and we weren't like, it wasn't even. I think we were just so overwhelmed from the day that
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I
like-
do you want to go to this well?
and I
And
was
he's like,
like-
let's just go in. And then 2 seconds, like no, not 2 seconds, like 15 minutes later, right when we're getting to the harbor entrance, we hear they're really lunch feeding, and I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, I was hearing that too, but then I just thought, man, these people saw breaching for 2 hours, and then they saw like some rare killer whales that we're going to talk about, but it's just like, yeah, I'm not going to push it past 8 hours. I feel like I'm going to
Yeah.
die. I had so much adrenaline.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Oh
just
my
like-
gosh.
rashes and you have a
Yeah.
headache.
You
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, I have a headache. Yeah. You can't, like, you just can't keep up the endurance with that much excitement. It's like, dude.
Yeah, there's no way. I was like, I still have to like dock the boat. I need
I need my brain.
I need to be conscious for it.
Yeah. All right.
So yesterday, Adam and I went out on my boat in the morning, and at 8 o'clock we left, or yeah, like 8:15, I think we left. And
I
we
slept
jammed
in.
out-
What the heck?
yeah, well, no,
I
we
came down
decided-
from San Francisco. I
Yeah.
freaking left at 5 a.m.
Hey, we still caught up to Kate though.
Yeah, I loved when you called me on the radio and you're like, yeah, we're coming right out. Never mind. Adam's got to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
Yep.
So-
Hey, you gotta let it go before you go on a trip. You know what I'm saying?
It's
You're
a
not there
good
for
thing
8
you
hours.
did. You had a lot
oh
of
man,
to do.
dude, you would have been
Yeah.
so screwed if you
Yeah.
hadn't gone.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
Okay, I'll get to a bathroom part later in the day.
Shut up.
So we jam out, and we're like, I went along all the like spots on the South Canyon side of the canyon where we had seen whales, like even the day before. And then we kind of were going, like we were cutting across the like, I don't know, we were headed towards the corner, and we didn't see anything. And Adam's like, great, everything left, like I'm cursed. Like,
No,
this is-
yeah,
this
we
is
did say that.
we did. It was like 15 minutes into the trip though, so it's like, and we
Yeah, you two were freaking out. It was like,
Yeah,
oh no,
we
like
were,
where'd they all go?
And so then, of course, because Kate has like an all-day trip, which is like they're always supposed to be extravagant, right? And so then
Somehow
Kate
she does
saw-
pull it off often.
yeah, every time. And so Kate
don't
saw a
understand
breaching
it.
whale to the north, and we had not seen anything, and so she's about to give up, and she's like, I'm gonna go to like where I saw a splash because that's a guaranteed, whale to start the day. And so right when she's like, I'm leaving, I was like, okay, well, I got 2 whales here feeding with sea lions. And then she's like, never mind. So she ended up coming to where we were. And the sea lions went down with the humpback whales, and then they popped up right next to our boat, like 4 or 5 times. And that whale that Kate originally, I'm assuming it was the same whale, right? That was originally breaching, and then it continued.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring too. The splash I saw, I bet that was Tercio, the
Yeah.
bottlenoses calf from last year, because like it was really, really far, saw a splash, and then like another splash was closer, and I figured it was a different whale, but I think it was just breaching all the way over.
I'm
So-
wondering
so-
if that's the same whale, Slater, that I saw. Because remember, I was like, there's a whale like towards that seiner or whatever, and then we turned and looked
no.
at the sea lion group because that was the 3rd whale in the area. I'm
That
pretty
whale
sure it
did come
was.
into our area. No, that whale did come into the area. She had a breaching. Our whale wasn't breaching. She had a breaching whale like to the
Oh,
north.
like further away. Gotcha.
Yeah, and so Kate left. We had that little mini 2 whales sea lion session going on, and Kate went over to the breacher, and that breaching whale ended up breaching its way all the way to our feeding group. But meanwhile, while we were watching that feeding group, we were in neutral for seriously 15 minutes, and every single time the whales would pop up like 100 feet or less from the boat. And then like the last time they did a complete circle a complete circle around our boat.
Yeah, and they like came like right to the bow, and they were just like hanging out there. And it was super cool because it was with the sea lions, and these whales came straight up to us. And I think Slater posted a video, and I did like a little live video, so I was live, and some of my people saw it. So it was
Did
pretty
you
epic.
scream?
But
I
then,
didn't watch your live.
Oh,
oh,
Adam was
I
going.
screamed. It's on my face. It's on my Instagram if you want to go check it
On
out.
your
I was
IGTV.
screaming, yeah. But yeah, and then that whale that Kate had like came into the area, kept breaching, and then joined up with another buddy that kept breaching. So I don't know if like the little guy got another one going or what, but then they had a breach fest for literally almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever seen anything like that. They both looked like similar in age, like they were same size whales.
Yeah, they did.
And it's
yeah.
like they were breaching with each other, but not really.
But
like
yeah.
they had like a little bit of distance, but they were both going the same way, and then they just branched off from each other and just kept getting further and further away from each other, but still breaching. Then it was like, well, which one are you going to choose? Like one of them was breaching more frequently, but the other one was breaching higher. So we went with the higher one.
Yeah. Well, and then a couple of times, like both of them got some pretty good air. Like,
yeah.
Like that, the one of them would like do these half breaches, and then he just fully send it. And it was
so cool.
It was pretty ridiculous, and it was the most like gorgeous, flat, calm weather. It's like those quintessential like breach photos where it's like glass calm. You get like a whale completely coming out of the water. It's just like perfect. And like
that video you sent me, it's like they're coming out of a big puddle. So flat.
Yeah, it's just super cool. And that's like that in itself is like, you know, the best 8-hour whale watch ever, right? Like that's where you go there for.
Those
so you go to
people
Monterey for.
On your boat should just like never go whale watching again after a trip like that.
There were 2 people on there that had never been whale watching before.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Their expectations are through the roof now.
Yeah.
Like, please don't come on a trip ever again.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, that was just the beginning.
That was just the beginning.
So then towards the end of that whole breaching session, one of the whales, I think Tercio is the one that ended up stopping and kind of doing its own thing. But then the whale that Adam and I stayed on started tail slapping. It just like sat there and started tail slapping. And then Tim came out. We were watching that and we were like, okay, like we recorded audio with the recorder. We had time to do like every little thing we wanted to do. Like it was just that, like it got to the point where it was like that easy to like, you could take a selfie with the whale. You could, you know, do whatever you wanted. And then, so we were like, okay, we like this day is epic. Let's just go in early and look at all our footage. And like, we're so happy.
Oh my God, that would have sucked.
That would have been awful.
It would have been so sad.
Hey, we were leaving. I was like,
we were literally leaving.
God.
We were leaving. Like I was kicking it up to leave. And then I hear these Rizzos are porpoising. And then it was like, I don't know if you called out that they were porpoising or something. And then
I did.
Ron or whoever was like, well, yeah, there's some killer whales here. But he said it so like
he said it so nonchalant. He was like, oh, I got some K-dubs.
Yeah. Like, what?
I should have talked to him today to like clarify. And I don't think he was following them because he was just stopped in one spot. Because basically what we were doing is we were still following that whale that was breaching.
Yeah, and the breaching whale led you right to him, right?
Yeah,
right,
and like we knew there were Rissos out there because Kate had called them out and Ron was watching him too, and we could see them, you know, doing their little splashes off in the distance, not frantic splashing, just regular, you know, Risso splashes.
Yeah.
And we're following this whale that's breaching, and then right before he gets to the dolphins, he stops breaching, and we're like, all right, cool, let's go look at dolphins now. And as I'm like getting into the dolphins, they just start booking it to the north, like all of them, like it. And then it made it obvious how many dolphins there were. You know how you cannot really tell how many, because if they're like
they all
all
take
spread
off
out.
at once.
But then all of a sudden, all of them are moving as one. It was like, oh, there's like 100 of them, and that's when Ron got on the radio, because I said on the radio, oh, these Rissos are booking it, and Ron goes, well, Kate, there's some orcas over here going after all these Rissos, and it made it sound like that wasn't like the first one they went after. I don't know, it was confusing, so I should have talked to him before I got on the
He
podcast,
said it so nonchalant. I heard it. I was
nonchalant.
like, did he just say K-dubs?
I literally just pointed at you and I was like,
I'm
We're
so
just
glad you were
jammed.
listening to the radio because I like blacked out.
I turned my radio off so much too because
Yeah.
like, we're recording video and stuff, and some people have like full blown conversations, and it's like it's fine, but it's like you can't think
You can't
at the same
hear
time.
and talk. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too much
And
multitasking. Yeah.
So Adam and I are like looking at each other, and we're going, and then I hear Tim on the radio. He's like, "Whoa, funny!" All of a sudden, Slater really turned and went, and like I was like gone, and I left. And Tim was probably like I don't know, a couple hundred yards away watching the same whale, right? And I like just left him in the dust.
Yeah, booked it.
And that like the whole ride out to like to get
It was
to that
terrifying.
zone, we're like, I'm like Adam, go get my drone, put another battery in it. And
Yeah,
and
I was
first
like-
off, it was not done. He did not put a battery in it. 'cause
Adam
he
was
like,
panicked. He blacked
I
out
I was
too.
absolutely panicked. I was like, because I could see the Rizzo jumping in the distance. I was like, oh my god, what if they kill it before we get there? What if we don't see it?
Yeah, I'm
What if
like,
yada
dude,
yada yada?
And then I had to look at him. I was like, don't worry about not like missing the footage. Let's just get out there.
You're not gonna
And
get
he's
the
like, "Well,
footage if you're not ready anyway. So
Yeah,
freaking
so-
pay attention.
I was freaking
get a
out.
new battery in each of the drones. Like we have a mile, like we're like we were like I don't even know, not even a mile away, but it felt like 10 miles because we're like
It felt like 10.
because
It
you
felt
could-
like
we-
forever.
on our way out there, we could see. I saw Rizzo come out upside down, like he did this
Come-
like back flop
Yeah.
thing. And then I also saw those like in place where they like like the bottlenose kind of jump up in place and like you know what I mean?
I was calling it porpoising in place.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could see that from the distance, and I could see you up there, and I'm like, oh, like it's just getting crazy. And
Well,
so then we're like,
yeah.
I'll do the handheld camera, you do the drone, blah blah blah. And, we're
And
like
then
trying to,
and then we
none
got
of
there
this
and it all
happened.
just none of it happened. Yeah.
And let me
It
tell
all
you
just
something,
went.
before while we're watching this show. I'm helping Adam with something, and I thought I had my camera strap on
Oh
my
my
thing.
gosh.
I just let go of my camera, straight up let go of my camera,
And it just
hit
fell
the floor.
straight down.
Oh my god.
So
Well,
crazy. And I was like,
okay,
don't worry about my camera, just focus on that.
How you guys end up getting anything cool? Like,
I was
it's-
freaking out.
It's
I was
so
absolutely
surprising.
I was freaking
Hey,
out.
now I'm even more amazed that you got any footage.
Yeah,
when
honestly.
luckily when I film and I'm like photographing,
He's
I
very
can
he's
calm down
very
and
gets
like
it,
focus
yeah.
on it.
No, you do,
I
especially when
still-
you're flying the drone. You like way focus in and pay attention.
I sure
Yeah,
I
no,
sure as
it's
hell don't do that.
incredible.
But
Well-
Adam, on the other hand, can get the shots and stuff, but he also is screaming at the same time.
The
so-
entire time.
It kinda gets-
The audio's not running.
Oh
Well, Kate,
my
Kate,
God.
I want to know what you experienced because you were there from pretty much like almost start to finish, right? So we missed a little bit
Yeah.
in the beginning. So I want to hear
Well,
your experience.
So when Ron called it out, I mean, he was less than an eighth of a mile from me. I mean, he was just right
Yeah.
there, but it was just the female killer whales at that point. So they didn't really stand out that much because there's, 100 dorsal fins flying
Mhm.
by with all the Rissos going by. So we didn't even notice. But then when I saw that one Risso porpoising in place because he was trying to evade the killer whales, and then we saw like all it was like a rush of water, and I was like, oh, he really does. There are killer
Yeah.
whales right there. And we didn't even see a male until like after, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or so.
Until it started
kinda,
jumping out of the water?
laser focused. Yeah, because he was kind of on the outskirts.
Yeah.
And maybe like 2 others were also, it was kind of hard to focus and be aware of everything that was going on because I just started filming it because I didn't know what the hell was going to
Yeah.
happen. I had it in my head that they were going to like knock it out of the air like
So did I.
that,
That's exactly what I
that
thought.
ETP video
Yeah.
that they got
Yeah.
from
all I was
Mexico.
hoping.
I was like, oh my god, this
That's
thing's
all I
gonna
was
fly
hoping
in the
for.
air.
Well, I mean, they do that with the smaller dolphins for sure.
Oh
Seen it
yeah.
Yeah, I
with
wonder if they were-
whitesides and commons.
Well, it was like a suit orca that they freaking knocked out of the air. I was
Yeah.
hoping like this thing's gonna porpoise in place, and then a killer
And it's
whale is gonna
Mm.
launch out,
Oh.
and it's gonna fly. It's gonna go over my
I was-
boat.
That's
That's
exactly
we
what I
were
was
torn
thinking.
about.
That's what I was thinking, and I was terrified that I was gonna miss it. I was absolutely
Adam and I
gutted.
were-
I was
we were
like,
We were going back and forth, like photo mode, video mode. Like we like want the video, you know what I mean? Because it's obviously epic to capture it, but it's like a photo
Yeah.
is like we both were like we just love photos, and
we
it's
love
like
photos.
it
Yeah.
sucks to not be able to do 2 things at one time.
Sounds like you need a third person there.
We've
Yeah,
been
it really
talking
does,
about this
Caitlin
for
Taylor.
freaking weeks, Caitlin.
I
I'm
would
gonna
have had you both with all your stuff ready. Because I would have
Yes.
been like, I'll drive, get your stuff together.
Yes.
We're not getting close until you have your stuff together. And you both would have been like, and like got it already.
That's what we need you here.
I'm gonna screenshot. First off, Kate texted me and goes, Slater, you need an assistant. And I was like, I texted Kate and I was like, I need Adam and Katlyn here at all times.
For life. For my regular life, I need that.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, and then
wait, you guys got there. Like, when did you guys get there? I don't even know.
Got there.
Like, when
we got there
mail
pretty
was
quick.
breaching?
Yes, we saw the mail breaching.
We saw both
okay.
So I got a couple photos.
Like, all you missed was maybe like 2 or 3 strikes that they did, and
but
some of them, like,
good,
you couldn't even really tell.
But the one that you got was a good strike. You got a good one.
Oh, thanks. I wish I was zoomed in on it more. But yeah, that was
super good.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, but then that mail breached, and then, I mean, what I thought was the coolest was that, like, they harassed it a whole bunch, and then what the hell was up with that sea lion, like, hanging out right in the middle of everything, like, with
trying to protect each other or something.
Sea lion's like, at least it's not me.
I think the sea lion was like hoping the Risso was like gonna protect him, because I had the drone up and I think I called it on the radio. I was like, dude, the sea lion and Risso are like hanging out together. They were literally like, the Risso would like zip away, and it was weird because he was like staying at the surface when he was like zipping away, and the sea lion would like try to get back over to him. And then I have this clip that I didn't post of the sea lion like going towards where the Risso was, but instead of the Risso being there, a killer whale like zooms by. It's like underwater. It happens really quickly, but you can see the killer whale.
I bet that sea lion's brain was just as frantic as Adam's brain approaching.
100%.
100%.
Like, that's a killer whale over there. No. That's Risso. I gotta go over there.
Well, and so then they, at one point, they kind of turned. They were kind of close. That Risso and that sea lion were between Ron and I, and because I went out on the outside, because you were like over at my 11 o'clock, and then Ron was also at my 11 o'clock, but like you were further away from us. Mm-hmm. And I went on the way outside to get around Ron, and then they ended up kind of coming that way, and that's where the sea lion and Risso was. Then they took off towards like Monterey Bay, like towards the inside of the bay, or towards like Monterey right, for a minute, and that's where they ended up killing it.
Yeah. That must have been just like one blow or something. Well, because so they did, like, they rammed it several times, and then it's like they backed off.
Yeah, and they like let it go.
Yeah, first I was like, oh, are they, they didn't injure it enough, they're just gonna let it go, it's too hard or whatever. That's what I was thinking. I've never seen them hunt Risso's dolphins before. But then I'm still watching the Risso. I'm like, should I follow the Risso? Should I follow the Risso? I don't know.
Exactly.
And I just did. And then it was like 1 or 2 females that kept pursuing it, but from far away. Like, they weren't going full speed. It's like they knew they had it, and they didn't have to rush to catch up to it. Because then when they did, it was it. It like, they got it real silently, couldn't tell.
Very silently.
I got on the radio and I was like, did they just let it go? Did they give up? And then Slater comes on real quick. They've got it in the mouth. It's in the tail. Bye.
Yeah.
Dude, I like so have this bad habit of having to answer people on the radio or tell them what's going on.
I know.
And so it's like I'm like filming this, and then I'm like, they have it in the mouth. Bye. Like,
I was laughing so hard because I know exactly.
Well, yesterday Kate said something on the radio, and I'm gonna start doing this now. She goes, "They're doing something. I'm probably gonna be off the radio for 5 minutes."
Yes,
and I'm just
that
gonna,
was
like,
very
turn my radio down and not answer. But in the
Yeah.
middle of this, I get a text message about like photo ID. So I'm like, I felt my phone vibrate and I pulled it out to look, and I'm like, how can I ID while I'm filming? Like, I don't like, there's too many things going on.
Well, it's like, oh yeah, here, let me stop. Let me put the drone down real quick. Let me go through the catalog and try to ID these things for you. It's like, no, I'm gonna experience this amazing
footage. Like at the end of the day, but it's just like in that moment, it's like too much is going on. It's like, and IDs, like, like,
no,
you don't see this.
You don't know people IDs in the middle of an interaction like that. And it is a good idea to say, I'll be back in a couple minutes, and just turn the radio down.
That is very smart.
Here's the numbers. I'm getting off the radio for 3 minutes.
Yeah, I would have missed that strike where the killer whale hit the Risso's dolphin, like, very obviously, if I had answered the radio, because like we had talked about what was happening, and then I said, I got on the radio and I was like, here are the numbers, come here, and I turned it off, and then I heard someone say, what do you have over there? And I was like,
you're like,
no,
nope,
I'm not doing it. And like in the video, I had to take the sound off because you can hear Bill in the background going, where have you been, Scotty? Them orcas are killing a Risso's dolphin out there. And it's like when it's ramming the dolphin.
Because you know that there's some people that are always on the phone, not listening to
Yeah.
the radio, or
Yeah.
there's too much radio chatter and you don't pick up what's happening because everybody's walking on each
Yeah.
other.
Yep.
And
Or
more often
somebody's
than
got
not,
their
these
music
days,
on and they're not listening.
yeah. And usually I'm
they're-
not doing anything. Like I'm not filming because there's people on the boat that are taking pictures and doing all that stuff. Like I will if we're like in neutral and it's easy and I'm not really needed for anything. But that was like once in a lifetime stuff. I was like, no, I need to
Be here.
watch this. Yeah.
Supposedly like another pod, right? Like in the last 30 years it's taken out of Rizzo, or like I guess.
Yeah, I think it's only been seen besides that time once.
You know what I was
Probably at
thinking though
least.
is how quickly they fed on it and then just kept going. Like it
And they
wasn't
left.
anything. It's like
Yeah.
I bet them killing a Risso's dolphin like that is
Is
just as
nothing.
common as ours wiping out a sea lion and then moving off. It's like, yep,
Yeah.
got that.
Exactly.
Let's go offshore and get a blue whale, yo.
Yeah.
Dude, seriously,
So-
Katlyn, they like. What if they do kill blue whales? Like, what if they? Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause,
Well,
like,
so-
Oh, I'm sure they do because all the blue whales are freaking terrified of them.
Oh yeah, and fin whales. It's hilarious. As soon as they figure out they're there, they're gone.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that group, because that group seems to be pretty unique.
Yeah, who
we
are
all
they?
pulled up on them. Well, we all pulled up on them, and everybody wanted IDs because nobody knew who they were. And there was like 10 boats there and nobody knew who they were. So that in itself was like kind of, a hint to us. And then, so I've been talking to like Josh McInnes. I know other researchers have been trying to figure out who they are, and they're not cataloged whales. In any catalog. Oh, they're not Alaskans. They're not Pacific Northwest Ts. They're not OCTs. They're not cataloged at all. And apparently, from what I've gathered, they've only been seen one other time in Morro Bay feeding on
And
a
only
fin
some
whale.
of them, not even all of
And
them.
only some of them feeding on a fin whale, right? So these are obviously some pretty unique killer whales. And the male, it looked like the male had that big cookie cutter kind of scar. It was like that circular scar on his left saddle patch. And so from what I've gathered over the past I don't know, day, I guess 17 hours, is that like they could be like transients that spend the majority of their time in like super 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 deep water. And who knows if they even are transients. They could be a different ecotype that we're not really used to. But
Well, how
You
big were
can't-
they? They looked like they were kind of like in
They're-
that big killer
yeah,
whale
for
size
sure.
range.
for sure, they look
Yeah.
they look like bigs, but
Yeah.
they have those cookie cutter shark bites. They obviously are eating different prey items, right? They're feeding on Risso's dolphins, which we never see. I guess this has been seen once. They fed on a fin whale a couple years ago, right? So like that in itself to me is pretty unique. And the fact that that pod's only been seen, or members of that pod have only been seen twice.
I
To me,
mean,
that-
maybe
that-
they're just
that's-
very offshore, but they're bigs or transients. They use a lot of the
It could be,
coastline
for sure.
between Monterey
For
and
sure.
Morro Bay. There's a lot of
There is,
undocumented
and
area
that's-
between those two places where a lot of crazy
Exactly.
stuff is probably happening. I mean, how many times do
Yeah.
you see whales driving PCH, like driving down the highway? Like,
For sure. And that could just be it. It's just like they haven't been, they spend a lot of their time offshore and they haven't been reported a lot. But I think like for now, I think with the new catalog that's out, I think they're considered OCX, which is just unidentified transient killer
Oh,
whales.
that sounds badass.
OCX. And so again,
Fun,
like they're
yeah.
not cataloged anywhere. And I think to the best of everybody's knowledge, they've been seen one other time. So
Yeah.
that's pretty epic.
Kate, did you try to match that photo you got last night with the ones that we saw?
Huh?
That male killer whale dorsal fin. Did you try to match it?
Try to match it to what? No, I didn't do any matching. Match it to what? I don't know what you're talking
Sent me a
about.
photo that that guy sent you, and then you were gonna try to match it with the ones we saw.
Oh yeah, I mean the photo he sent me though, it was like a
It was straight
straight on
on.
view of the
Yeah.
dorsal
Yeah.
fin, and I took
That's
like
not
2
helpful.
pictures, and one of them was just on the sides. Like, yeah, you can't tell anything.
Apparently that guy has more photos, but I haven't heard anything from it. But everybody keeps telling me that like it's been a Morro Bay sighting and that was it.
Yeah, I mean it sounds like whatever that little circle of, whatever those people are. I guess they were able to
Yes.
identify them from that encounter.
Exactly.
Interesting.
But I don't know. It's just super cool. To me, just the fact that they're eating different marine mammals than what we're accustomed to, and the fact that they've only been seen twice is pretty alarming to me. But it's super cool.
I think
regardless of what it is.
like specific matrilines get better at certain prey types than others. Like
True.
Emma's group, like they're gray whale killing machines. It takes them like 30 minutes. It's like
that's
nuts. Like that's so fast for a whale. And then the 51As were like on it with the dolphins. And then there was this group of whales they were seen mostly off the Oregon coast. There was only like 3 or 4 of them that killed that gray whale right in front of Monterey Harbor. One of them's like missing like part of its tail and it's part of its pec fin. And like only 3 whales. Only 3 whales took down that calf. Like, that's impressive. It was only 3 or 4 killer whales in the whole event.
Yeah, it wasn't one was missing their entire pectoral fin, and then one had like a screwed up fluke or something. Like that was gnarly.
And this tiny little group of beat up whales just like annihilated a gray whale calf in front of Monterey Harbor. It's like, so some groups definitely are better at certain techniques than others.
I agree. I just think that there's so much going on offshore that we have no clue about.
I mean, I think there's way more. There's way more bigs off of the Oregon coast than anyone realizes. I would
Josh
on that.
Josh sent me this. Yes, I swear.
Put my dollars on that one.
Josh sent me this paper that was from 2001, and it was again in Morro Bay, that there was a group of like 34 killer whales with cookie cutter shark bites that killed, like, I think that attacked a group of sperm whale females and killed one of them and ate it.
What's going on in Morro Bay, dude? I'm gonna have to.
That's what I'm saying. Like something's Like that's. I don't. It's
those whale watch boats don't go far offshore. They do not go far offshore. Those whale watch boats, and they don't know anything.
Well, and
they don't know anything.
Well, that harbor is also pretty sketchy to get in and out of. So like they just don't have nearly as many opportunities to get out. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like something.
I think it's rough in Monterey. Try and do that bar crossing when the surf's up there. Like that's scary.
We'll just pick a calm day and go find all the things in one day and get it done.
Okay. Get your boat on a trailer, Slater. Let's go.
I think Slater, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, true. Let's go to Morro Bay. But I think the cookie cutter shark thing is like super interesting because like normally they're found in like deeper water, right? Like we don't see any really transients like that we're accustomed to have cookie cutter shark bites. Like
but they don't really scar white on their black body that well.
I guess so. It'd have to be in a certain spot like the saddle patch.
Sea lions have cookie cutter shark bites.
Yeah, I guess so.
Also,
not to burst your bubble, but
no, that's
speaking of like things being really offshore. Okay, we didn't really talk about that. We had like 15 to 20 blue whales spread out from like Monterey to SoCal for like a week or more. Or well, actually weeks. We've had blue whales for weeks here.
For weeks.
Almost like a month.
Who cares about blue whales? You saw killer whales kill over
they just Katlyn, we had them at 59, like 44 and 59, which is pretty close for us at Moss. A lot of them were like way down, like 38 and 02, like off of Point Joe and Cypress. And so the next day we go out there and they're literally just gone. All of them. There's no blue whale around. And then
there's a red tide.
Blue whale that day. Yeah, then there's a red tide.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but then I was talking to Connor. I was like, man, like he went way offshore past where we did yesterday and way down south. And he only saw a couple humpbacks like around. And it's like, I guess for a blue whale though, overnight though, if they want to travel like a mile, I don't even know how far. Yeah, they can go 20 miles offshore.
Fly.
Yeah, so it's like
I saw them once.
Nothing.
I saw them once from Sea Lion Cove down in Big Sur, just from the cliffs. They were only like a quarter mile out. There was like 3 of them all in a train, just flying up the coast, but so close you could hear their spouts from shore. Like so cool. So easy. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But they were just like, they had somewhere to be and they were going like bow wave, like off the rostrum, just going. Like I think they could just be somewhere else at a drop of a hat, like just know where to go.
Like,
well, I think also, I mean, those killer whales probably were lurking around for a while. And once blue whales get wind of that, they're out. Like,
Yeah, scaredy
see you
cats.
later. They don't. The killer whales don't even have to get close to them. As soon as they hear them, they're gone.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Like one time we had killer whales, like, I don't know, a mile from a blue whale, and all of a sudden this huge animal just starts porpoising away from where we're going. And I was like, what is that? And I get the binoculars. I was like, it's a blue whale.
They get scared of Rizzo's dolphins. So
yeah,
they're fraidy cats. These are fraidy cats. It's funny. I have a
so
question.
Weird when they
No, go for it. What are you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's weird when they interact with Rissos, because I feel like the Rissos look like they're having a ball, like bow riding in front of the blue whales. I'm like, is the blue whale like getting into it and playing, or is it like freaking out? Because it feels like it's freaking out.
I think
that's something I would love to see.
They're fleeing.
That's
what were you gonna say, Adam?
I just looking at like the past couple, I guess, days or weeks, like, you know how like you guys in Monterey always say like you're usually accustomed to like 1 or 2 killer whale sightings a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it seems like kind of in July and August up until Slater and until we had that one day with killer whales not too long ago, like there was a period where there was like no sightings of killer whales. And then like literally the past yeah, exactly. And literally the past week there's been killer whales spotted in Hawaii, off of a bunch off of Cabo, here in Monterey. Like, is there something
they're planning
going on?
Like world domination right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious. Like, is there some? No, I'm just saying. Like, is there some environmental cue that brings them closer to land, or like, I don't know. It's just it's coincidence. Is it just coincidence?
I think in Monterey, a lot of it is influenced by where the humpbacks are, whether you see them or not. It's sampling bias more than anything. So, like, if the humpbacks are close to shore, and they're easy to watch, you're not going to go look somewhere else.
Or, I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Or is it celestial alignment that is bringing killer whales?
Those blue whales left as soon as we had a full moon.
Oh,
blue whales left, and the humpbacks stopped
blending. Saying we had a blue moon too.
There is something to be said, especially about pelagic fish and the lunar cycle.
That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
That is what I'm saying. Like,
but
are these I don't know. It's not obvious. Are they cancers? Are they scorpions?
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, well, if the blue whale's a Virgo.
Yeah.
What's their ascendant? Blah blah blah. Yeah. No. Anyways,
that's just a fun thought that we obviously know that the tides play an important part in the ocean cycles, right? And I'm just wondering, like, is there something bigger going on there?
So in like January or December in Newport Beach 6 years ago, when I was there more full time, we would always say, okay, in January and December we might see killer whales. Like, for some reason the CA-51s would show up then
every year on the 1st or 2nd of January.
Yeah, it was
for like 5 years straight.
Yeah, I don't know if it still happens, but it's just I think there is obviously some sort
so
of
same thing with the false killer whales. They're somewhere between the end of February and the end of March down there.
Yep. Okay, it's just seasonal.
October,
I don't know.
We're gonna have killer whales eating an elephant seal. Like,
I've seen that in October before, right in front of Moss Landing.
Gonna happen.
Oh my gosh, don't even.
Because that's when the elephant seals are starting to come back in toward shore, getting ready for breeding season, getting their last meals before they come to the beaches.
What do you think? Okay, what have you seen predation wise in Monterey
with killer whales?
Yeah.
Elephant seals. I saw them get a fur seal once. That was on the craziest day actually that we had killer whales, or one of the crazier days. Like, they killed a sea lion, then a fur seal, and then they just started booking it, and we followed them for like 8 miles, and they met up with other killer whales that had killed a great whale. And so it was just so trippy to know that they communicated over 8 miles and went in a straight line.
And that's not the first time
going
we've seen
like
book it to another whale.
9 or 10 knots the whole time. Yeah, I've had that happen like 2 or 3 times now, but that was one of the crazier ones. I've seen them do elephant seals, Pacific white-sided dolphins, common dolphins, gray whales. Obviously,
you've seen them kill a common dolphin there.
Yeah, a couple times.
I have pictures of it.
Really?
Oh my god, it's amazing. Like, I remember we had this group of high school kids out that didn't give a crap about anything we were seeing, and then I was like, you guys, please pay attention right now. There's a group of common dolphins up there, and killer whales are going towards them. please enjoy it.
And they were like,
and then it was just like all the common dolphins, like I like
lit
played
up.
out how it was gonna happen, and then they got to see it all unfold in front of their eyes. Like
That's
just the
super cool.
common dolphins pod just started booking it, and then they nailed
Flying.
one, and yeah.
Oh, they just got to nail.
I've
one
never
at the
seen him
back.
go for Dall's porpoise though. I've never seen him go for Dall's porpoise.
That would
I've
be
never seen him
cool.
go for a minke whale, even though I was on the water one day that it happened.
Did anyone
you
ever
don't
actually
think I-
confirm it? Because I was on the water too, but it was up in Santa
Oh
Cruz.
yeah. Oh yeah, I saw pictures. Yeah, Mike Sack got pictures. You can see like the
Okay.
minke whale's rostrum.
Oh wow.
This girl I had on my boat the other day, Nadia. She has video. She just got video in Alaska from the drone of killer whales eating a Dall's porpoise up there.
Mhm. Up there, up north,
so did
it's
Gary
more
got
common.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we know. I guess they do harbor porpoise and Dall's porpoise all the time. I think you've even seen it, right, Adam?
Yeah, I've seen him smack a harbor porpoise freaking 15 feet in the air.
Has anyone seen him ever go for northern right whale dolphins?
Oh, that would be
Could you
crazy.
imagine? Oh, come on. It's like black and white, and then
Yeah.
The only time, I mean, a lot of the time you see northern right whale dolphins with Pacific white-sided dolphins, but I
Maybe
don't
they're
even.
faster.
Yeah, they're also very skittish.
They're skinny. They're also skinny. There's not a lot of meat on those things.
But they're
I'd
like
rather eat it.
also just like fairly shy. Like they don't bow ride a ton.
Which
Like,
makes you think
I
that
don't
they'd
know.
be easier to
Oh.
get.
Like white sides
don't
are
know.
like all up in your business. They're like, I want to see the front of your boat, the underside of your boat, the back of your
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah.
I want to like ride in
Northern
your
right whales only
wake
come
and
over
like
if they're right next to, like, I feel like they really only bow ride if they're like next
if
to
there's white
sides.
sides there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Kinda
I don't
like
know.
fall,
That's
like,
my
come over to the
opinion.
boat, it's fine.
I've only
the only-
seen them like 2 or 3 times when it's been like majority northern right whale dolphins in the pod. And I think when
We
there's
had the-
majority them, then they're like
On your boat.
crazy
Yeah.
about bow riding and
They usually
doing
leap
cool
really well
things.
too.
Yeah.
When
On
they're
my
more-
all day trip on your
yeah.
boat, we had the craziest whiteside northern right whale dolphin, and that
Yeah.
humpback whale was swimming with him.
Yeah, the
and blue
the
water,
was
which is-
so blue.
Yeah.
But I've
oh,
never
man.
seen killer whales go after a mixed pod. I've seen them go after just white sides or just
Yeah.
common dolphins, but I've never really seen them in the same area as a mixed group of any of
Something.
those species.
I wonder if bottlenose are just like inshore coastal bottlenose are just pretty safe.
Probably. 'cause
Probably,
I don't
yeah.
know. They kind of
They would just go right up into the shallow water, yeah, and the killer would be like, oh, okay.
They're just going to the Elkhorn Slough, kick it with the harbor seals.
Seriously though, they probably would.
I've seen them.
Oh my
twice in the
god,
last
can you
month.
imagine like a killer
front.
whale going under that bridge, like following those dolphins?
That'd be-
Nuts.
It becomes a new like Patagonia or like Argentina or where is it? Peninsula Valdez, where they like grab them on the beach, the harbor seals. Oh, like over by that little turn island in Moss Landing. You know what I mean? Like where all the little birds and harbor seals are at.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
So yesterday was easily a top 2 or 3 day I've ever had on the water. Where does it rank for you two?
Way up
It
there.
has
I
to-
was
it has
thinking
to be
like
top
it's
5,
been a
right?
I would say
while.
top 5.
Yeah.
It has to be top 5. Like that's like
Well,
1
I-
in 30
I think
years,
my
twice
top
in
one is
30
with
years.
Katlyn.
Huh?
The killer whale eating the shark's got to be one of my top.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
the
what
day
I was-
wasn't even that crazy, but the encounter is like something you'll never ever see again.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is the drone footage. I mean, I think that's probably one of a kind again.
Oh,
How do
yeah.
you do that?
Just
He's one of a kind.
Just we're not worthy.
Hey, my cheeks are
One of a
turning red.
kind, wearing a dumb t-shirt.
Hey, my t-shirt's funny.
His special podcast t-shirt. Anyways, so I was looking for, there was a new paper that came out about Risso's dolphins, and I like kind of followed a rabbit hole, and I found a paper.
I completely
about-
forgot we were supposed to talk about this. I just got
Well,
totally
let's
sidetracked talking
put
about
it
our
into
encounter.
perspective. Like, what is the typical interaction between killer whales and Rissos? I mean, we don't see it very often. We hear lots of rumors about like, oh, I've seen him kill a Risso's dolphin, or oh, I've seen Risso's dolphins mob killer whales away, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
what's going on there? So there is a paper that was put out in 2018. It's called Selective Reactions to Different Killer Whale Call Categories in 2 Delphinid Species. So basically they studied pilot whales and Risso's dolphins, and they did like a playback study where they put out killer whale sounds, con-specific sounds. So like to the pilot whales, they played pilot whale sounds. To the Rissos, they played Risso sounds. And then humpback whale sounds as like a neutral. And they watched what they did, and they put D tags on the animals. So the very short version, because there's lots of nitty gritty details that if you're a nerd, you could definitely, I'll put the link on our Facebook page. You can go through this whole paper. I just pulled out the highlights about the Risso's part. They only got tags on 4, first of all. Very difficult
Very
study subjects.
Small sample size.
But that doesn't mean that there's only sampling on 4 dolphins. I mean, 4 within these different encounters, but then also following this whole pod, and the D tags recording, audio and stuff, and as well as the movements of that dolphin, but then matching that with like a focal follow of the animals being like, oh, they all are moving this way.
Gotcha.
So they did this work in Southern California off of Catalina Island in 2013 and 14. And once they put the D tags on the dolphins, the research vessels did not get closer than 75 meters for an hour before they started doing the playback, because they wanted to give the dolphins a chance to settle down and try to not bias their results.
Mm-hmm.
And they did 3 different sound trials, and it was in random order, 30 minutes apart. And they would play Pacific Coast transient sounds, Risso sounds, and humpback whale sounds that are actually my humpbacks over here from Stellwagen Bank. But anyways, you can tell they're humpback sounds. And when they were doing the playback, they would follow the dolphins at a distance of 50 meters. So they were fairly close to the animals, but they needed to be able to track the entire pod's movements. And during the playback of the Rissos and humpback whales, the dolphins did not change their behavior. But during the killer whale playback, they changed their heading away from the sound source. So they don't like them.
So they're not friends.
My short conclusion is they don't like being around transient killer whales. They can tell what the call is, and they're like, nope, I'm out of here. So pilot whales did too. I mean, spoiler alert if you want to read the whole pilot whale thing, but both of them were like, I'm all set. We don't need to be around.
Which is interesting because I feel like pilot whales and Rissos are the only species I've heard that will then turn the tables and mob killer whales away, But
I mean, humpback whales do too, and humpback whales get eaten
I
with
guess
baby
so.
whales.
I guess so.
The humpback whale thing's like got a whole nother element of like altruism and stuff. But I mean, there definitely is evidence to show that the Rissos have a strong aversion response to the sounds of killer whales.
Well, think about yesterday, right? Like you guys were with those Rissos and you didn't see the killer whales until Ron called them out, right? So they're obviously right there, assuming they were probably in silent hunting mode, right?
Yeah, just
and then
stalking them.
And then they were able to triangulate on one, and then they probably started talking, and that's when the other pod took off. The rest of the pod took off, or maybe it was just because one was getting murked. But
I think probably one saw them and then put out an alarm call, because that's what you see with the smaller dolphin species is like you'll see the killer whales just like stalking them, and then all of a sudden like a handful just like of the dolphins shoot off because they're like, oh no, there's something here, and then all of a sudden boom, they all go.
Yeah, it just takes one. It's like when one sea lion panics at the MLA buoy, and then they all start freaking out for no reason.
Oh man, what a day!
It'd be interesting to have the audio, like when you can see the killer whales lurking. Like if you could somehow get a hydrophone in quick enough before a dolphin realizes the killer whales are there. If you could hear, like, is there an alarm call? Like, I don't know. And
I bet they're always just I mean, they were on the south end of that dolphin pod, and that dolphin pod was trending north. They must know, obviously they must know they're smart as hell, but to stay behind them so that none of those dolphins are going to like echolocate and figure out where they are, so they can sneak up on them.
Rissos, especially, like when you put the hydrophone in, they're like constantly clicking. It just sounds like someone's knocking on a door the entire time you put the hydrophone in. It's nuts.
It's so cool.
We got like, I don't know, we moved like 8 miles or something from where we first had them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty close to that, I think. And we like, so we get out there, and then we could see Kate could see some splash.
Oh yeah.
And they like randomly turned and were like, oh Yes, like we
I
were
totally
all,
forgot
on
it
again.
almost.
it's
We
all
I
going
forgot it
again.
almost
And
happened
so,
again.
and this is way out there. And so like they definitely turned and went
They
towards some
definitely turned.
Rizzos. And then for whatever happened, like one killer whale split off maybe and did follow the Rizzos, and then the other ones turned back out to sea, out to the west, like going towards.
Oh, they definitely like attempted to strike one.
Well,
of them.
we saw that big
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
that big splash or whatever, and we
And
thought it
because
was
there
on.
were some Rissos that were booking it.
Yeah.
Probably just because I don't think they knew, or they didn't tell the other ones, because the other ones were just going real slow, or maybe the other ones knew too and they were just trying to be inconspicuous
sneak
and kind of sneak by. But I saw at least two going slow, and then some of the killer whales were going right towards them, and that's when there was like a whole bunch of white water right where the Rissos had been, and I was like, oh yeah, and that's when I was like, I'm not gonna be on the radio, goodbye.
Yep.
And then-
Yeah. That's oh my god, if it would have happened again, that would have been like so epic. Because
Yeah.
we already knew we didn't have drone batteries, so I would have been just so happy taking photos and filming, and like we would have had like that just takes a whole level of stress off, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely will go after dolphins more than once in the same day. Like that one summer where they were eating common dolphins for days at a time. It was like they killed 3 or 4 in one day one time.
Yeah.
That's what Kate was saying. She was, or I think it was you on the radio. Someone on the radio was like, "Well, they have to eat like a sea lion per animal a day, right?"
Like a sea lion and a half, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we only see them kill one thing every time they're here? It's like, I guess you guys said you had some days where they've seen them. I've seen them kill a couple sea lions at once, but it's like, dude, I could take a couple.
Well, who knows? Maybe they killed 2 Rizzos yesterday, right? Like we don't really know. They did it so inconspicuously. Like,
well, how much does a Risso's dolphin weigh?
Like 1,000 pounds when they're fully grown.
1,000 pounds.
Oh,
I guess I mean that's
1,000.
That's like 2 sea lions.
Yeah.
2 big ones.
And there was like 7 of them, so need a few of them.
We're not supposed to get excited about hunting killer whales. I've got a lot of comments. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Oh yeah.
They were like,
that's why I was trying to make Slater feel better for not getting the footage of all the blood spilling out, like when they tore it open and there was a whole bunch of blood there, and I was like, dude, I can't
frustrating.
I can't look at those videos anyway. Like, and I'm all in
up
for this stuff, and like when I see those videos where they shred a seal apart and there's all his blood, like I need to be sitting down.
Okay, first off, back to the blood thing. We don't even know. We're gonna go back.
Blood belongs in your body.
We're gonna think that the blood that came up was from down below, and because it was like they
otherwise
never had that dolphin at the surface. Otherwise, we missed something epic. But
yeah, I mean, I was just saying that to make you feel better. It was probably at the surface.
Dude, after they made that kill, there was like no surface action. They just
swam
away with it.
Yeah,
I have a
like it was nothing. Like it was nothing.
Like they swam and ate it like while they were basically traveling away. Like,
Let's get our snacks to go. Thanks.
When I put the drone up, I have a video of one of the females holding the Rizzo in its mouth and then dropping it. And you could see her drop it, and you could see the Rizzo slowly sink. And then I had to take my drone in because I was dying on batteries, and then my second drone battery wouldn't go for whatever reason, so I couldn't launch it again, and that was a real pisser. But then right after that is when they ripped it open. So they obviously dropped it. Everybody reconfigured, tore it apart, ate it, and then left. And it was like that. It was literally within 10 minutes.
60, like, dude, they ate it.
Maybe they only take something specific from the dolphin to feed on and then ditch the rest because it ain't no thing.
A belly full of squid. I mean, like,
in that case, they gotta eat a bunch of
They
them.
don't usually eat the digestive organs though. A lot of the time you see the intestines and stuff floating.
Yeah, I don't think we saw anything floating. There were no like albatross that
there
swooped
was
in.
an albatross. I could see there was some
But was
albatross.
it feeding on anything?
No, it wasn't.
They like all stopped and laid it where that blood was at, and then we all kept going. Like they stayed with the blood pool.
Maybe Risso's sank.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Probably.
I think that they sink or something, and that's why they kept going down with it. It's just easier to feed it down there in mid-water column or something.
Well, they'll do that with the gray whale carcasses too. They bring them down there, and then if they let it go, then it floats up.
Oh,
but maybe not a Risso.
I think that
it's not that I want these animals to die. It's
no,
just that
of course not. It's nature.
It's just like,
dude,
watching the event is insane.
Slater,
like,
your platform is huge. Like you.
Well, yeah, you have all kinds.
Expect everybody to see it.
You have all kinds of people on your page.
I saw some comments.
You're sick, and I'm like, dude, I didn't, like pay this killer whale to kill him. You act like I like hired this guy.
You act like I have him
I hate
trained.
Rissos.
I wanna hear
Slater,
Kate's.
there was a comment on like a share of your video. I think of like Tim Zolanek, I think, shared it, and then someone commented on it and said, "Oh, this fills my heart with so much joy. It's so majestic." And Tim was like, "Yeah, it was cool to see them carry 1,000-pound animal away." And he goes, "No, they're swimming together in harmony." And he's like, "That's not what you're seeing."
Yeah. You're seeing them
Oh,
have their
no.
dinner.
Yikes.
Side of a Rizzo.
Yeah, there's some people that just want nature to be all, puppies and kittens and stuff. And whatever.
No, man. I mean,
a good
part of me
thing when
just
you get the
wants to
blood.
comment back to those people on your page later and be like, do you cheer for the antelope too? Like when the lions are eating?
Yeah, they do. But you know, the other thing
Yeah, they
is,
do.
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they can just not watch. I don't get why.
These same people
Whatever.
say,
We don't
like,
have to talk
killer
about
whales-
comments,
Just
but it's
shut
like
it
just
off.
don't comment.
No, but
Just don't
killer
comment
whales
and
are
leave.
my favorite, and it's like people. I feel like people. I don't like when people. Okay, we all love killer whales, but when people choose them as their favorite, I don't think they actually have seen killer whales, and it's like they're not the nicest. So maybe choose a humpback.
Yeah, they're
pretty
mean.
nice.
They're really mean.
Yeah.
Because who cares about anchovies?
Yeah, that too.
Millions of anchovies die on a regular basis, but the
You
hands
love
of the
seeing
humpback
lunch
whale.
feeding humpback whales, but you hate seeing killer whales kill a dolphin.
It's
Aw,
cute.
anchovies
I
are
like-
probably like real nice too and friendly and
Yeah,
But
seem like
charismatic. We just
seem
don't
like cool
know.
They're
fish.
Yeah,
they're just like
it's
neat.
the fish Olympics, for goodness sake.
Hey, did you see that video of my video where the anchovy gets blown way up in the air from the
Yes.
restaurant?
It's awesome.
Dude,
You
those
should have
anchovy-
added sound to it. That was just like
You did.
I did.
Oh, was
I did
there
something
wee
like
in
that.
it?
Yeah,
You
No,
dude,
it
did?
wasn't Lee.
it
It was like you know the cartoon when it's like something gets launched, it's like
Oh
That's
my God.
awesome. Yeah, like the Doppler effect. Wee.
yeah. Okay, I gotta know where does yesterday rank, Kate, in your all time
Oh, God.
like what other encounters can you think of that like match that same sort of?
Beaked whales.
Ugh. I mean, if we're talking killer whales, like that's definitely way up there because it's never been seen before. But like what my
Yeah.
eyes actually got to see wasn't
Yeah.
that wild. Like
Very
I've seen
true,
them like
yeah.
launch like white-sided dolphins and
Yeah.
common dolphins high in the air. Like what my eyes got
Yeah.
to see wasn't like that spectacular,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
just
yeah,
the
I-
idea of what happened was pretty gnarly. No, but that ranks way up there. And just just how it all unfolded too, because I always have a plan in mind for all day
And it
trips, like where I'm gonna
never
go.
works out.
And like this time I was thinking like screw offshore, all the blue whales are gone, who cares? I haven't heard anything interesting on the hydrophone. The humpbacks have been amazing. I'm just gonna focus on humpbacks, get them like maybe a couple breaches and probably some lunge feeding, and that's what it's gonna be. And that's what I told people in the beginning too. I was like, look, you guys, I'm not even gonna try for blue whales. That's just gonna suck all the time away from all the flat water. And
Yeah.
we're just gonna enjoy all the stuff with the humpbacks. And it's just crazy that a humpback just took us
Yeah.
to some
Whatever to the
incredibly
humpback.
rare.
Remember the
It
humpback?
just
You think he was
kept
like,
going.
did he?
I have no like it was just so nuts. But yeah, I'm just so happy it happened with a group of people that totally appreciated it and could take it all
Yes.
in and understand
Absolutely.
that it was that cool and it wasn't just some random group of people, just a couple that were appreciating it. But that was
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, that was just real special about it too, is that it got to happen on an all-day trip where everyone's super into it. I liked that
Yeah,
part.
I think like the
What happened to him?
Uh-oh.
He frozen?
He's frozen.
The funniest.
where
thing
like
about it-
you have a
That's-
humpback
oh, there he
for
is.
2 hours.
Wait,
What,
say it all
the
again,
freeze?
Say the whole thing again. We lost
Oh, I
you.
froze. No, I'm just saying like the day in totality is like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Breaching humpbacks for 2 hours straight, and then one of them leads you to an extremely rare event. Like
Yeah.
I don't like you can never forget those kind of days, you know.
And it stayed calm. Yeah, it's been a while where I've had
Gorgeous.
that feeling like
calm.
after
Yeah.
a trip where it just
Yeah.
like just overwhelmed in every
And
sense.
that's my
Like
point.
my
I need a
body is
nap.
so tired. Like
Yeah,
I'm
I had a
like
headache.
hungry, but also want to
Yeah.
barf. Like
Dude, Kate,
yeah.
Kate, you saved us with that croissant. I don't know if we would have made it without your croissant.
Oh my
Dude.
god, I thought you smacked your head on
No,
the
I didn't. I
rail
was
to catch
I-
that
I
one
did trip.
croissant.
Okay,
but-
so we pulled up to Kate's boat, Katlyn, and
What side? Do you remember what side?
Okay.
Yeah, do you remember
Yeah.
what side
they
Slater?
were starboard side, but for some reason she was because I was coming over to her. She was on my at my 1 o'clock, so I was like, yeah, I'll just pull up to her port and then put it on my starboard. I don't know why I was
And she
Dude,
said
we're-
starboard like 3
there's-
times, and I'm like, "Where are you
there's-
going?" And he's like, "I'm going to a starboard." And I'm like, "No, you're
Yeah.
not."
So
They're just
So-
scooting across the ocean, arguing with each other.
so anyways, we go to the starboard side, and Kate tosses a croissant to Adam at my bow. Adam dives for the croissant, and then like his sunglasses fall off his head into the water. So then he like leans over the bow and like snatches the glasses, but meanwhile he
my
like
God, you
slammed
guys
his
are a
body into like
mess.
my hand or like into my rail on my boat.
I thought he.
How
hit
did
his
you guys
head,
live
like,
through the
square
day?
on the rail? Yeah.
My
Hey,
head
and
was
you have to
good.
understand, we were fried. Like so many sensory
I
organs
was-
were going off from the.
I was
like,
so
event.
baked.
Yeah.
Oh, it was-
I was
Yeah.
saying like way too sarcastic things to my passengers. I was like, we need to go in before I offend somebody. Like,
Somebody
Yeah,
take
it
me
was just-
home. I need a nap now.
yeah.
It was
bad.
just one of those days. But you're right, Kate. At the end of it, like you have that feeling of just like Slater and I probably like 8 or 9 different times we're like, what do we just see? Like
Yeah.
we just saw something that like we'll never see again in our
You
lives.
didn't even have to see it. You just had to be there to
Be
know what
there
was
to
going on.
experience it.
And so it's funny that Adam just asked you that because John Barron, Adam just wrote me on Instagram and he said, "How is that a top 5 day, not a top 1 or 2? Would love to hear about those other ones." And it's
Well,
True.
the thing is,
so it's not about
It's
like,
Monterey.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's. I think it's more about how the day played out versus.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. It wasn't a launching dolphin. Like, yeah, I've seen whitesides go flying in there. Like those days. That day is another top 5, right? Or the sperm whales. So it's like there's a lot of great days, but I think the emotions behind the entire day, coming together is why it's a top 5. Not
And
necessarily
the
what actually
people-
happened that day.
And I think the people I spent it with, like I spent it with Slater.
Yeah.
We saw Kate for a while. Your boat was full of just people that were super excited about
Yeah.
it and super into it, and that just makes it all the more worthwhile.
Yeah.
So
A lot of
watching-
time, like,
oh, go ahead.
like what Haley and I talk about a lot is like the pace of the trip. Like it's different when you're like you have people on board that you're showing this things to rather than just going out to experience whatever. But like the pace really, really matters to the whole
does.
experience of the tour. And I think people on all days expect like long lulls in between where you're just like searching for crap offshore and you probably
Not
not see anything
yesterday.
for a long time. But like, yeah, like the pace of shorter trips really matters. Like for instance, like 2 days ago, I had some people on the boat that really want to see blue whales because there's like in freaking articles, and so everyone gets their hopes up and they can
Yep.
just be gone so quickly. And these people were just amazing. Like it was just the best group of people. And even though we didn't see blue whales, like we saw great humpbacks and Risso's dolphins, the pace of the trip was so nice that people were ecstatic. And then the next
Yeah.
day was like a totally different vibe on the boat. We did get to see him a blue whale, but it didn't line up as well because the pace was off and there's a very grumpy gentleman downstairs that needed a cigarette. So like, I mean, that stuff kind of matters. And
Yeah.
it almost doesn't even matter what you see, but it matters like in what order you saw it and how
Mhm.
quickly and what you were doing before. And yeah, it's hard to describe, but
Yeah. I
it
mean, it makes
does
sense to me,
make
but
a
I've been working on the boat
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
see that whole thing.
yeah.
But for
pretty
sure.
wild.
And they're wild animals, so it's like, what are you gonna orchestrate this whole thing? Like, I don't think so, but you
Yeah.
you try your best, come up with a plan and try and figure it out.
Yeah.
So I'm rewatching the video from the drone, and you guys are like, oh, it has the tail and the mouth. And I like the first time I watched this clip, I thought it just had the dolphin tucked under its pec fin, but it does have the corner of the fluke in the mouth and the dolphin's tucked under the pec fin.
No, you
The
can
killer
see the
wheel's
fluke.
dragging it. Like, that's
He got
crazy.
a couple
I have
different
a couple
sequences
different
you can
angles
see,
of it.
yeah.
Well, not angles. It's kind of the same angle, but I
I
have
just
like.
when I watched it last night, I was so tired from working all day that I was just like, wow, that's amazing. But like now I like can see the fluke in its mouth, and then it's just like tucked with the pec fin.
Like it must just have
carrying
like
it
the
like a little bag.
tip
Like
of the tail in its mouth, like just the tip.
yeah. Yeah.
Like you think like 2 teeth had it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah, right.
3 teeth maybe, but it's like,
that
you
fluke's
know how
probably
people
pretty
like
wide.
carry their dog under their arm? It's just like, this is my little dolphin, thanks.
Women and just kicking.
It's my
and
clutch. My clutch.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. All right, that was
Super
a lot
splendid.
to take in. That was a great episode.
I think so too. It just
Incredible.
Thanks for
amazing,
having me.
amazing day.
Good
yeah,
timing
thanks
for
too.
jumping
My battery's
on.
about to go. Totally. Sorry, I was grumpy about it at first, Slater.
It's all right.
Sometimes you have
So
to just force people to get on right when they
Yeah.
don't want to.
you said yes, let's go now. That's one of Slater's strong suits. When someone says yes to him, he's like ready to capitalize. He's like there on it. So thank you everyone who listened to this episode all the way to the end. What's our secret whale of the week?
I don't know.
Risso
Freaking OCX. I don't know.
OCX. Do OCX. I like that.
OCX.
Super mega rare, ultra rare killer whales. OCX.
Those are
Cookie
super
cutter
ultra mega
shells.
transients,
Weird
right?
parasites on their dorsal fins or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
Katlyn,
too.
wait,
You get those from
wait,
more water. What
One
the
more
heck?
question,
Yeah.
Katlyn. What are those parasites called?
The little black ones that are like long.
Yeah, they like hang off the dorsal.
Copepods.
Yeah, but don't they have like a name that starts with an X?
It's like some
Xylophone.
Yeah, something.
Xanthalis something.
Yeah,
I think
Alright,
they're
anyways.
OSX, OCX.
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 Yeah.
OCX barnacles.
Yeah.
OCX copepods. Anyways, also thank you to our Patreon subscribers. You guys really make this possible.
Kate's one of them.
Yeah, Kate is one of them. Thanks, Kate.
Aw, Kate.
Damn right.
And if you listen to the podcast somewhere and you have not subscribed to it, that helps people find the podcast. Like the more subscribers we have, the more bumped up we get. Also, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review somewhere, that way other people are like, oh, what's this whale nerds thing? And then they see your reactions and also your subscriptions, and that helps more people find the podcast. And if you want to come whale watching with the four of us, you can come in October, the 14th, 15th, and 16th on Kate's boat in Moss Landing
Do it.
for Whalenerds Weekend. So
It's gonna
Yeah,
be
all the
epic.
pressure's on Kate to find
Yep.
out
Oh,
the
God.
best days ever.
Oh,
you
now
have
it's
to
on
have
the
an
three of
all-day
us,
trip
too.
like your last all-day trip. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
I'm gonna hire
I'm just
I'm gonna have one in between. That's like real boring.
Practice, yeah.
I'll
Burn
just
the
have to
next
beat that
all-day
one.
trip. Save it all up for us.
I'm gonna hire someone to take my boat out in the morning and scout around for us.
But the first trip we're doing is a sunrise trip. We can't send a scouting boat
Oh,
out.
sheesh.
Is it a full moon? Hopefully.
Oh,
Yeah, I hope
didn't
it's a
even
full
think of that.
moon.
I hope so too. And if you don't follow us on social media, it's at Whale Nerds, and our website is thewhalenerds.com. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for coming
Bye.
on.
Thanks. Bye, nerds.
Yeah. See ya.